It's Board Games with PeedMont.
Welcome back, gamers. Today we're going to be checking out the game Sushi Go, which is a light drafting game that I recently did a little kind of thought video on a couple days ago, and I figured I might as well make a full review of it. I'm going to try to do something a little bit different starting from now on. I'm going to do my same kind of show you the game, how it's played, and I'm going to do my scoring system, but I'm going to try and shorten it down a little bit so my videos are a little shorter. I'm going to show you all the scores, but maybe not go into as deep a detail for each score. But I'm still going to try and bring some insightful comments about each game and make some interesting, thought experience for you to think about these games. Of course, if you already know how to play Sushi Go, go ahead and click on the box and jump right to those conclusions. Otherwise, let's find out what's in the box and how you play the game. Inside of this little Sushi Go tin, you will find one color rulebook, which is really nice. The game's pretty simple, but it explains everything you need to know. And on the back, it has this quick game summary, and maybe after one playthrough, or even maybe less than that, just picking this up, you can look at the back of this and figure out how you play the game. And then, you're going to find basically one deck of cards that's split up into two in this little tin with these nice holders, which is great. And this holds all the different cards, all the different ways that you'll score and play the game. Sushi Go is one deck of 108 cards, which is great because that's more cards than you'll use in a single game of Sushi Go, which means that basically no game will be the same. You're not going to see the same exact setup of cards every game. There's more than you can get through. So the next playthrough, you might not even see half the cards that you saw last time, which I think is really cool and a great thing to do in these kind of games to further increase the variability of the games. Sushi Go was split up into 8 kind of different variety of cards. The first one is this wasabi, and this says that the next nigiri card you play will have 3 times the value. And there are 3 different nigiri cards. There's egg nigiri, which is worth 1, or if you use the wasabi, that would be 3 points. There's the salmon nigiri, which is worth 2, or with wasabi 6. And then there's the squid nigiri, which with wasabi will be worth 9. Next, there are the maki rolls. At the end of each round, whoever has the most maki rolls gets 6 points. The next place person will get 3. And as you can see, each maki roll has a different, basically, number. We have 1, 2, or 3, and you add these up at the end of the round to see who has the most. Next are the dumplings. If you have 1 dumpling, it's worth 1 point. And then 2 is worth 3, 6, 10, and 15. So you could get, if you manage to get 5 of these, you'll get 15 points, which is quite a lot in this game. Similarly, there's the tempura, which if you get 2, you'll get 5 points. If you have 1, it's worth nothing. If you have 3, it's going to be still worth 5 points until you get that next set for 4 equaling 10 points. In the same vein, there are the sashimi. 3 of them are needed to score 10 points. Again, if you have 2, that's nothing, or 1, that's nothing, or if you have 4, it's still 10. You don't get any bonus. Then there are 2 kind of specialty cards. There are the chopsticks, and as it says, swap for 2. If you play this on the subsequent turns, basically you have your hand of cards, you could switch. You say Sushi Go, you switch this card back into your hand and draw 2 out from your hand that you have currently. This is a very powerful and tactical card you can use either early in the game or late to secure maybe the most maki rolls. And the last one is the pudding. And you can see here it says most 6, least -6. This is a special one because after each round you typically score your points and clear the cards. But the puddings stay the entire 3 rounds. And at the end of the entire game, whoever has the most of the puddings gets 6 points, and whoever has the least has -6. Very cool. Sushi Go is basically a light drafting game. Everyone gets a hand of cards, which is different depending on the number of players you have. And then everyone simultaneously plays one, and then passes their hand to the left. So you're going to get the person who's on your right, their hand that they just saw. So you can start to make decisions about, this person maybe needs that tempura in a couple turns, so I'm going to take that one now, and hopefully I'll get another one for someone else. Or that person has a lot of puddings, maybe I'll take that one right now. And the more players there are, the kind of harder that becomes, and the more kind of chaotic and random it is. So for me, strangely, playing the 2-player game is the most fun, because I know everything my opponent has, and it becomes really strategic, and almost like an abstract strategy game in trying to decide what order of cards to play. And I think that's really cool. The game recommends that you play the 2-player game with this like 3rd-person dummy character, but we found, using a couple house rules, my partner and I, that you do take the -6 if you have the least puddings, and if you get 0 maki rolls, you get 0 points instead of 3 for being 2nd place. If you use those kind of house rules for the 2-player game, it is a super fun, highly strategic game very different than kind of what it was marketed for. And that's basically Sushi Go. Super simple. You just deal up some cards and start playing. You can be picked up by just about anybody. And there's a great way to introduce drafting to people who don't already know that. Additionally, if you are into two-player kind of crazy abstract strategy math games, this works really well as that also if we use those kind of house rules that I just talked about. I found this at Barnes & Noble for about $11, and I thought, well, that'd be a great little addition to my game collection, and it really is. My partner and I played it every day since we bought it. It's super quick, but it has enough strategy in that two-player variant to really keep you coming back for more. And since there are more cards in the deck than you'll use in a single playthrough, the game's always different. You never kind of get the feeling like, oh yeah, I've kind of seen this setup before. It's always different, which is great. So altogether, I think this is a really great game. It's been super fun, and it works on multiple levels. If you want to introduce drafting to some new players, this is a simple way to do it. The artwork really draws you in, and the instructions basically are right on the card. It seems really intuitive, and that's, I mean, one thing about the game, that the theme really works for me. It really seems to be a nice connection of theme and mechanisms. Other drafting games, like Seven Wonders, it doesn't make sense, right? I have an army, I want them to fight for me, but I can only do one thing at a time. I'm so busy, so they go on to someone else. You know, I like the mechanism, but it doesn't seem to work thematically as much as this game. It's about passing sushi and having a good sushi meal. I think that strangely works really well with this. It's super easy to play. There's tons of strategy, especially if you're playing the two-player game. I mean, there's a little randomness because it's card dealing, and it seems to be more so in the 4 or 5-player game, but it doesn't really bother me. There's basically no setup. The cost is nice and cheap. It plays quite a few players. The only little negative about the game for me is the quality. I think the box is really nice. I like it because I can throw it in my backpack and not worry about getting crushed for a little card game. But the cards are a little flimsy, and I guess that's so that you can shuffle them. I can't really sleeve them because that makes it very difficult to shuffle, and they wouldn't fit in this box. So, I mean, it's a trade-off right there. Altogether, I give it a score of 81. I definitely think if you spot this out somewhere, pick it up. It's super fun if you like two-player abstracts, or if you like kind of a light introductory game to drafting. I think that suits both of those needs.